Hello, hello, how are you today? Welcome to day 12 of this myth-busting series about the limiting beliefs that can hold us back in our professional lives. I'm Louise Jenner, the Dream Job Coach, and I'm here to help you get past these limiting beliefs and on with your career. And today we're going to be talking about what recruiters really want in terms of your CV, because you may have that feeling that your CV has to be perfect, and it isn't, in order for you to get hired. Now, first things first, it is not your CV's job to get you hired. Really? Yeah. It's not your CV's job to get you hired. It is your CV's job to get you an interview. And then it's your job to get yourself hired. But your CV just has that one job, and that is to get you an interview. And we forget that, don't we? And we think, oh gosh, my CV has got to have everything I've ever done on it, because, if I miss something, then they won't hire me because they won't know about it. And we'll get into this spiral of despair where we're thinking, crumbs, I really need to get everything on my CV, but also I've been told that I shouldn't make my CV too long, and it can get really confusing. So when we remember that our CV's job is only to get you an interview, we can realise that all we need to have in there are the highlights, the very salient points of your career, the things that are relevant and preferably recent in your career that show your dream employer why you are potentially the best candidate for the job. And when I say potentially, because they're not looking to hire you from that piece of paper. They're looking to hire you from the interview. So they're just looking on your CV to say, oh, I'd like to know more about them. Yeah? So great big long CVs are a bit boring. Yeah? Nobody wants to read your entire career story, your entire life story. I'm sorry, they just don't. Remember that the people who are reading your CV are busy people. They are looking for something that stands out and gives them the clue that you are potentially their ideal candidate. So let's just think about this. What can we do with our CV so that we do stand out? You can take some notes here if you want to, but you could also download a new free guide that I've got to standing out in your career, and you can also download a really more specific guide around writing your CV. So you can do both of those things over at my website or on the top of the Facebook page. Okay, so 2 reasons why you might be sending a CV. Okay, you might be responding to an advert. Okay, and if you're going through an automated system or going through a recruitment site or whatever, your CV is going to have to look very different to if you are sending your CV direct to a future employer. If you are doing that, that's when it gets really exciting for me, because what you're doing there is you would be accessing the hidden job market, potentially, remembering that 60 to 80% of jobs are never advertised. But let's just give you some tips around sending a CV where there is an actual vacancy advertised, okay? First things first, you want to be able to optimize it for AI and for ATS, which stands for Applicant Tracking Systems. So particularly large organizations, big companies are going to use AI-driven tools and application tracking systems in order to scan through all the CVs that they receive before a human ever gets to see them. So you want to use clear section headings. You want to avoid tables, graphics and text boxes that can confuse the system. And you're going to want to mirror keywords from the job description, but in a natural way, okay? So the downside of applying for a job that's advertised along with hundreds of other people is that you kind of have to do it that way, black text, white paper, or white background. And it's harder to stand out from the competition when you can't use a bit of creativity, okay? So we've got to really think about, okay, what's the AI, what's the machine looking for here before we can think about what's the human person who's going to make the final decision looking for. The next tip for morning, Tracy. Thank you very much. She says it's another brilliant subject for today. Yes, I hope so. I hope you're all thinking that. I can't see everybody that's watching, but I know there's a few of you. So my next tip for applying to a job that's been advertised with your CV is to focus on value, not just duties. And this goes for both advertised and speculative applications, right? We want to see the impact that you've made in your previous roles. So instead of just saying, I was responsible for this, I was responsible for that, my duties included this, my skills are these. Oh, hi Cheryl. Cheryl says she's going to be working on this today. That's fantastic. So instead of just listing your experiences, listing your responsibilities, listing your skills, which anybody could do, let's face it, you want to really show them what was the impact that you made. So include some results. You can include some results that show money or percentages or anything to do with a number. That's always a winner. Okay, my next tip is to keep it human-centered, because for all I've just said about the AI systems and the applicant tracking systems looking through your CV before anybody else does, in the end there will be a human. So make your summary section warm and confident. Try to avoid cliches. Honestly, from you guys, I don't want to read, I'm a seasoned professional or I've got 30 years experience, because that's what everybody else is and what everybody else writes. So something a bit hookier, something a bit more dynamic. Highlight your soft skills, okay? Your leadership skills, your adaptability, how much you like to collaborate with other people. Those skills are really, really important now and going forward into the future. And show how you solve problems and give value, and tie those into real experiences, true stories that you've actually done. The more you can demonstrate rather than tell, the better. Okay, I've kept some notes over here. That's why you see me doing this bit, because I don't want to miss anything for you today. So bonus tip here is to keep it fresh, update it every 6 months, even if you're not job hunting, because it's hard, isn't it, to remember what you did last year. You never know when opportunity might be knocking on your door and you want to be ready. Okay, now let's just have a look at speculative CVs. So this is the idea of you getting your CV in front of somebody, your dream employer, I hope, before they even have a vacancy. So top tip number 1 here is to tailor it like there is a job ad. Imagine that they have written a job ad, imagine that they have got a vacancy for your dream job, and then write your CV and tailor it for that particular dream job that you would like in that organisation. Research their goals, research their projects and their culture to make sure that they're going to be a really good fit, and mirror the language from their website or social media so that you show that you are potentially one of them. And then focus on how you could solve a problem that is really close to their heart. So under no circumstances, if you've known me for any period of time, you will have got this by now. Under no circumstances have one generic CV that you are sending out to the world and his wife, because it's a waste of your time and everybody else's. Lead with your personality and with the value that you bring. So in a speculative application, you're going to potentially send your CV alongside a cover letter, and we have specific structures for cover letters that I talk to my clients about. So if you're interested in knowing what the really effective ones are, please do get in touch. You need a really punchy personal profile. You need to show enthusiasm in your cover letter for the company and the industry that you're keen on working in, and you need to highlight achievements that will match what they are likely to need from you. And then remember, if it's a speculative application, you are not going to end with a call to action that says, I'm available for interview, okay? Because they're thinking, well, hang on a minute, you've got a job. What do you think? What do you think you're talking about? You're ready for an interview. You're going to end your cover letter with a call to action that's a bit softer. It might be that you invite them to meet you for a coffee or to have a Zoom call, a little conversation about how you might be able to help them. And here's one more final bonus tip for today, and that is, if you're sending a speculative application, if you're sending your CV to somebody that you would love to work for but you don't know them yet, what about seeing if you could get an introduction somehow? Is there somebody you know that also knows them who could mention you or put a word in for you before you send that speculative application in? Okay, so that's it for today. Remember, your CV's job is not to get you the job. Your CV is there to get you the interview, so highlights only. And you don't want to bore them before they've even met you, so keep it short. I would say one side of A4, if at all possible. Your CV, as I've mentioned before, also wants to be consistent with your LinkedIn profile, so make sure that if they get your CV and then they look you up on LinkedIn, you're the same person, and vice versa. That will build trust and make them more likely to want to meet you. Yeah, and the last thing to say is that you can download, I've got 2 guides, okay, and I'll put the links in the comments. You can download my free guide to writing a compelling CV that your dream employer will actually want to read. You can download that at my website, louisejenner.com. And I think pinned to the top of the Facebook page is my new guide, which is Stand Out and Get Hired. And that will give you an overview of the entire process. Okay, have a great day. And I will be back tomorrow with a really good follow-on from today, actually. It's cover letters that get interviews. So we'll be diving a little bit deeper into the cover letters tomorrow. Okay, take care. Bye for now, and I'll see you soon.